Welcome to another episode of Your Purpose, where I sit down with entrepreneurs, business leaders, and activists to have honest and sometimes tough conversations in order to inspire someone to step out on faith and follow their dreams. So, joining me tonight is Don Garrett of Don Garrett Comedy. Don, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Miss Michelle Gray. How are you?
He's going to use my whole government.
I am, because it's on the screen. It's on the screen. I only knew Niche Reigns. I figured you was hiding from somebody. So now I see your government. Now I can go and check your records and warrants and stuff. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. First off, I have no record. Don't listen to him. I have no record.
No record in the state of North Carolina.
Wow. You know
I'm
what?
you knew what you was
Do
getting into, Niche. You knew what you was getting
Yes,
into.
yes, I did. Yes, but you can go ahead and do your due diligence. I'm from New York. I have no record, so
Oh,
you know.
oh boy, she didn't turn to New York on. Let me slide back some. I don't want no smoke, as the kids say. Oh,
Anyway, this is not about me. This is about you. Thank you so much for joining me.
no, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much for just the opportunity to interview and what you're doing as far as connecting people with purposes and as far as activist entrepreneurs. So thank you for creating this platform.
Of course, and thank you for joining me because I can't interview people if I don't have anyone. So I definitely appreciate.
You have a point there. A very valid one. You got a point.
So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to sit down with me and do this interview. So,
Anything for you, Niche? Anything for you?
well, there is this car that I've been eyeing.
Wait, hold on.
Not that.
Hold on. We ain't got there yet. Let me sell out a few more shows, Niche, then we can talk. Okay. Let me sell out a few more shows, then we can talk.
All right. So, thinking about your comedy, how did you even get started?
Wow. Oh man, this is one of my favorite stories to tell actually. One Memorial Day, 2015, because I'm originally from Virginia. One Memorial Day back in 2015, I was at my friend John and Lena's house, and they had a couple of our other friends over, and we're just in the kitchen, we're eating, we're laughing, we're just drinking, just having a good time and whatnot. And man, before I know it, like I'm just wilding and I'm just like just cracking jokes and laughing, and everybody in the kitchen is just like just crazy, like doubled over in laughter and stuff. And I remember them saying, "Man, you need to do comedy." And I was like, "Man, no, I don't. I don't have no comedic bone in my body. I can't think of material, none of that." And they were like, "No, man, you need to be at the Funny Bone, which is the local comedy club in Richmond, Virginia." And they were like, "You need to go to the Funny Bone." And I was like, "Man, no, I don't." So fast forward at the end of 2015, I actually moved to Charlotte in December. I got a job opportunity, moved down here. And I think it was about maybe a year, a few months later, once I got acclimated to my coworkers, I started talking. And my coworkers was like, "You need to do comedy, you need to do comedy." And I called my mom that afternoon. And I remember I was sitting on the floor right in front of my couch, and I think I'm gonna look into doing this comedy thing. I said, I think this is God giving me a swift kick in my butt that I didn't listen the first time. So here's the message again. And I'll be honest, it's the best decision I ever made in my life. Because apparently there were people that saw things in me that I didn't even realize, were there. So man, I thank God for them like every day for speaking up and being like, "Hey, listen, I think you could be good at this."
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Um, so I've been to one of your shows. So
Yes. You
tell
ran
everyone else
you
what
ran
is
up
your comedy? Don't do that. I did
you
not.
you ran up on me. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but you ran up on me because I was just looking. I was like, wait, I know that person. And you just ran up on me, but it was really good to see you and meet you. We had been communicating, through Facebook for so long and whatnot, and finally just meeting in person. It was great to meet you.
First of all, I didn't run up on you.
Okay,
I
you walked.
came out to support.
All right, you walked up on me. Is that better? No, it was
Yes,
good. Appreciate you coming out for
y'all
that
not
show.
gonna keep painting us New Yorkers as just like thugs. Like I didn't run up
Oh,
on you.
oh boy,
Absolutely not.
All right, you mentioned New York again. I'm gonna back up. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke.
But tell us about your comedy style.
My comedy style, I actually do clean comedy. I do clean comedy, so I perform, from bars to churches to comedy clubs, birthday parties, anywhere and in between, weddings. It doesn't even matter. I say my style of comedy is observational. Because I like to make you think about things in a different way. Like there's a joke that I do about Charlotte street names, and you see the street names, but you just see them in passing, and you don't think about them. And I like to be the person that makes you think about them another way so that when you pass them again, you'll chuckle and think about what I said. I try to do a lot of wit in my comedy, a lot of wordplay, callbacks where sometimes I try to call it back to something I said earlier in my set. But ultimately, I just love to have fun on stage. I'm energetic. And it's just, I'm kind of like the in your face guy, like the guy that you're like, no, you got to listen to him tell this story. I'm that guy. So that's what I like to be on stage, and it's a lot of elements that incorporate into my comedy style. But definitely, what I like people to know is that I'm clean and I'm versatile.
Nice. Okay. So tell me about the worst experience you've had as a
Yeah.
comedian.
Woo! March 7th, 2018. Woo! A day that will forever live in infamy, man. Oh man. So I had been going to Laugh It Up Thursday with my Uncle Tonex, man. Shout outs to Uncle Tonex, man. He's always holding it down. And I was performing in an improv group, my family impromptu. Shout outs to Angie Tab, the whole squad. And I was performing with impromptu, and so Tab, he's a DJ. He DJs for 1019, and also I think the the block 90, no, Power 98. And so he said, hey, Tone, want to know if you want to do some time. I'm like, yeah. So first time I go, I do 7 minutes, right? Okay, cool. Show goes well. So the second time I went there, Tone was like, hey, I want you to feature. And it was my first time featuring and whatnot. Now I was only doing 12 minutes, but it was a feature spot. So I was featuring for Marvin Hunter. And so, I'm panicking. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I psych myself out instead of going with what I knew. That's why I messed myself up. So I get on stage, and I tried two new jokes that don't land well, and I can never recover. Like I never recover. So about 5 minutes in, this one guy from the back starts saying stuff, and I'm already kind of flustered because my set isn't going well. And he
Mhm.
said something that just kind of pushed me over the top, man. So I'm like, what you say? I'm like, you wanna, you wanna roast or whatnot or whatever. So dude comes to the stage, we roast. Of course, the crowd is on his side because I'm the comedian or whatnot, and he's just saying some off the wall stuff. But they're just like, it was more embarrassing than anything. And this was like a few weeks after comedian Steve Brown had got attacked at the Comedy House in Columbia, South Carolina. So that was that. And after the show, man, I just like I knew it wasn't a good show. I bombed so bad, like I just, oh man, it just crushed my worst to this date, still my worst show ever. I got some really good advice from Marvin and Tone after the show, and they were like, what happens, but when you're on stage, that's your show. Don't ever give anybody control over your show. And I'll never forget those words. And I had posted on Facebook about it because I'm a real person. You do have some comedians who, and I'm not knocking anybody, if you let Facebook tell it, they kill every show that they have. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't. And I mean, I'm lucky and blessed enough to have had a lot more better shows than I've had bad shows. But
Mhm.
from that one show, I did learn. And my good friend Evan Pitfield, my brother in comedy, he called and he talked to me for about 45 minutes because I was just feeling the lowest of the low. But at that time, I had to decide, like, am I gonna let this be my defining moment, or am I gonna take something, learn from it and apply it going forward? So I thought about that show all week long because that following week is when I had another show, and the next show, like, man, it was great, knocked it out of the park. So that was more. I pretty much got my face cracked early in comedy, and I'm happy I did.
Got you. Got you. Well, the good thing is that you didn't let it be your defining moment to where it's like this isn't for me. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, you have a lot of people that do, but I know that if I'm the type of person where if it's something for me, I feel it, and I feel empty without it. And I just knew that, that time off stage gave me a lot of time to reflect and to figure out what I could do better. And I wasn't blaming it on the crowd at all. It was me. I should have did a better job because I'm the comedian. I'm the person with the microphone. I'm the person that they trust to make them laugh, who they're giving their money and their time to. And so I learned, then, I mean, I've never been an arrogant person, but like you talking about getting humbled, man. So I keep that day. I even celebrate it every year now. I celebrate the anniversary of my bombing. And it's kind of like a coping mechanism. I still think about it. It keeps me grounded. So if I have a show that's totally great and just unbelievable, in the back of my mind, I'm like, but you remember back in March 7th, 2018. So I keep myself grounded like that.
Got you, got you. And comedy is a hard field. Like that's not the easiest thing. I've never done comedy. I think I'm funny, but I'm only funny like
You're hilarious.
I'm, I'm funny with friends. I
Mm,
could not get on stage and tell jokes. Um, but that, I have been on stage doing poetry, and that's hard to look out at and everyone's looking at you because they're
mm.
waiting for you to change their life and somehow. So I definitely commend just you sticking with it because if it was me, I'd have packed my bags up that night. Like Charlotte, that would have been the last time Charlotte saw me.
You're like, I'm gonna just go on to the house. This ain't for me.
Oh
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
just.
no. I'm packing it up. I'm packing it
Oh,
up. I'm getting a
oh,
new zip code.
gone, gone. Oh, you gone. Oh man,
I'm
no, I can.
going gone.
I, I was afraid to show my face for a few days, but I got over it. I got over it. I was like, the more places I started going, places where I knew people weren't gonna recognize me, like Whole Foods. I was like, I don't shop here. I'm safe. Nobody's gonna recognize me in here. And if I'd have went to Walmart or something, it'd be different. But Whole Foods, nobody's gonna recognize me in here. I'm safe.
So tell us about some of the places you've performed in the past.
Wow. I performed pretty much up and down the East Coast. I performed in Pennsylvania, Maryland. I performed, of course, Virginia, home state. I performed, of course, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. Um, and I believe that's the extent of it for right now. But I've hit a lot of cities and just been blessed to, connect with a lot of people. Oh, West Virginia, I've been there too. So I've just been blessed to connect with a lot of people, over the span of my career, and for them to, request me back to want to have me at a later date. So it's just been a blessing to meet, all those people. I tell, people, hey, if you're listening to my jokes under the sound of my voice, we're no longer strangers. We're family now. I'm cousin Don, because I like to, you guys are here with me, and, you thought enough of me to listen to my jokes and laugh at them and stuff. So we're family, man.
Gotcha. All right. And where can we find you in the future?
In the future, well, because of COVID, oh man, this was going to be a great year. I'm gonna tell you about the perfect storm that got ruined. March 21st of this year, I was supposed to open up for Bruce. It was going to be myself, Bruce, and comedian Burpee from Wild 'N Out. Shout outs to Burpee. And March 21st is my mom's birthday. And she was coming to the show, as well as a lot of my family from both sides, because it was in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, which is only about 20-25 minutes from where I grew up, both sides of my family and stuff. So the whole family was coming out. It was just going to be the perfect show. And because of COVID, that show got postponed indefinitely. So don't know when it's going to be. I got accepted into 4 comedy festivals this year. And I was producing a show on one of them, which is the Queen City Comedy Experience. So in the future, you can at least find me at all 4 of those festivals and the show with Bruce, whenever that will be, as well as hopefully still taking over the 3 shows that I produce in Charlotte, as well as the 1 show that I produce out in Madison, North Carolina as well. So you'll find me around.
Got you. And I was going to ask you, how has the pandemic changed comedy for you?
The pandemic has changed comedy for me because if you're, a basketball fan, you're familiar with this term. I had to pivot, where, you're used to going in one direction and then you're stopped by something. So you kind of have to pivot and move your foot around until you can find an open man or open way to get out of that. So I had I had a mini, I don't want to call it a depression because people, actually suffer with that. But there was a point where, I just kind of had in my mind that comedy wasn't coming back. And it was a little disheartening because I worked so hard to build up the momentum that I had. And, I felt like I was, getting somewhere, and I was, my schedule was always full and whatnot. But, I was always tired, of course, from running and still working a full-time job as well. And so, my grandma, she said, well, this is just God telling you, sit your butt down right now and you get back to it later. And I think she was right. I think it was good in the sense that we all kind of needed a break to regroup and to find out about ourselves. But as far as comedy, it's different now. We're doing shows on Zoom. We're doing streaming shows. Even comedy clubs are holding, auditions, streaming and whatnot. And then, of course, live shows. I've done a few of those. You still have social distancing in place and people wearing masks and things, and the audiences isn't aren't as full as they once were and whatnot. So you just kind of gotta take it with a grain of salt. And especially in the times that we're living in now with the pandemic and everything else that's going on, I feel like comedy is needed much more than it was before in the past. We all need to laugh, because if we don't, we're gonna cry. So, however it's going to be, I pride myself on being a versatile individual. So whether it's whether it's a virtual environment or live in person or whatnot, I'm still going to be the same Don and give the same energy. The thing about the virtual environment, which is kind of crazy, is like sometimes you have to wait for the lag. So if I tell a joke I can't talk immediately, because like maybe 1 or 2 seconds later you just you're like, oh man, that lag is crazy. So I say probably the biggest thing I've had to deal with between virtual environments and live environments is that lag, that time difference, that real time versus that lag time. But I mean, it's cool. Like I said, I pride myself on being a versatile performer, so it's all good with me.
That's what's up. And, I'm glad you touched on it because thinking about just our history, comedy has been something that has helped us
Hmm.
through a lot. A lot of times people are like, how can you laugh at this? But that's been our medicine. That's been how we've overcome a lot of things and kind of work through them. Because if not, like you said, you'll end up crying and you won't get anything done. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's the truth. The truth is, laughter, it heals us. I have on my business card a quote that says laughter is an instant vacation. And you'd be surprised at the kind of things that you forget about that you're dealing with while you're laughing. The defining moment, man, I had a guy in Greensboro. I was doing a show with John Reef, who was the winner of I think it was like season 8 or 7 of Last Comic Standing. I think it was 2008 when he won. So he's from Hickory, so I went and did a show with him at the Greensboro Comedy Zone. Did 2 shows. They were very great shows. Awesome, people laughed, they enjoyed it. And had this one guy that came up and asked me for my autograph, and I was like, I ain't never been asked for my John Hancock. I was like, maybe I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I would have been more honored, like if he'd have sold it and got money for it. I would have been like, oh snap, yo, like finally my first rip off, like, oh yo, I made it. But he said something that just sunk me, man. He said, yeah, this is the first night that, my wife and I, we've been out to have fun because we've been caring for her parents. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know how that goes, caring for the elderly and whatnot. He said, yeah, man. And the doctors told me that I only have like 2 months to live.
Whoa.
That was my exact face. And that hit me so heavy that you have 2 months to live, and you chose to spend one of those nights coming to hear what I had to say, coming to hear my thoughts, coming to you spent time, precious time, because you don't have a lot of that left. And you spent that precious time with me
Mhm.
to come in here and to get a laugh and feel better about what's going on in your life. I don't know how you can feel better about that, but that's when I realized what we do is powerful and it is needed. And people do enjoy when you're giving them your all on that stage. And that's what I'll promise, I swear I will always give, because people don't have to spend their money. They don't have to spend their time. They don't have to be there. I recognize that and I'm appreciative of that. So for him to just say, "Hey, man, no, I'm gonna be gone in 2 months," I at least wanted to come and have this is one of my last memories. I just, man, that. told me something different, man. I never had that feeling before. So that's when I realized that what we do is necessary.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh my, like I got goosebumps.
Man, every time I talk about it, man, like I just my heart just kind of beats a little faster, man, because it's real. Like it's things like that I appreciate just as a person, but as a comedian as well, man. It just I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, especially with how valuable time is. And
Well,
like you said, him just wanting to even him seeing the value in giving you part of something that he has a limited amount of. Like that
man,
puts a lot of things into perspective for you.
that's heavy. Like you mentioned it like that, of course. That is heavy, man. And he didn't have to do it. He could have just been at home and just say, hey, I'm gonna spend this night with family or friends because I don't have enough time. I don't have a lot of time. I don't know if he had kids or whatnot, but it's a lot more. There's a lot more places that he could have been. But for him to be in the house that night, and what was crazy is that when he said that and he left, me and the house MC, the Bass, we just kind of looked at each other like shocked and awe, like no words and whatnot. And I think it hit both of us at that moment, like, man, we may not think what we do on stage, really touches people or anything like that. But I mean, it's quite the opposite, man. If I can give somebody a laugh, if they're going through something, if I can just make you forget about whatever you're going through for a split second in time, man, I've done my job. So that's how I approach comedy. And that's how I will always approach comedy. I don't care what level I'm at. I don't care how many millions, billions I may make, care how famous I may become. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is touching people and healing them through laughter.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I like the title for this interview, "Laughter is the best medicine," because laughter and happiness actually also changes us chemically.
Yes.
So it's just as important. Like it's not just a psychological thing. It also it changes how your body reacts
Hmm.
and how it protects you in certain ways. So this is really dope. Thank you.
No, thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
um, so I wanted to pivot for a
Oh,
second.
that's what you call a callback. Good job, niche. That's a
So
call. Look
I
at you.
might have I might have a career in comedy.
Yeah. Let me be your manager. We're gonna be straight. We're gonna be straight. We're gonna be straight. Let me be your manager. Yeah, I take it to the top, kid. We're gonna be straight.
But as long as you're not like red and your office hours
They're not from 9 to 5. They not from 9 to 5. They are not, and your name ain't Bird either. So I ain't hanging you over no balcony, nothing like that. Like I don't got the no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not even tall enough to reach the top of the balcony. Whatever. Like I'm not. I've been and dropped you, and oh man, how can I explain this? Oh, he wasn't tall enough. No, I don't want no problems like that. I don't want no red problems, not at all.
so as I pivot to your other career, because you
Mhm.
also have a podcast, correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Tell us
ma'am.
about
It's the Papadom Podcast. It's me and my partner Chris Mines. Let me brag on my partner a little bit. He's a 2018 and 2019 comedy battle champ, as well as the 2019 Fight Night champ. The brother is funny, man. One of the best writers in the game, in my opinion. We had followed each other on Instagram. And then we had met at Lonnie Love had a comedy competition at Stats. And so
that.
we met there and, we exchanged numbers and stuff. And it was crazy because at the time, I really wanted to start a podcast, but I didn't know anyone who was serious about doing it. And
Mhm.
Chris texted me out of nowhere and he was like, man, you ever thought about starting a podcast? And I said, I sure have. So I ordered a MacBook, the one that I'm actually talking to you on now. We ordered microphones and we pretty much figured it out as we went. He said, do we make an announcement? And at around that time, Beyonce had just dropped Lemonade and she didn't make any announcement. She just dropped it. And I said, no, let's punch people in the mouth. So that's how Papa Don was born. And our goal is to pretty much share our platform with, similar to you, entrepreneurs, activists, people who are out here grinding, making a difference. We realize that the bigger, stations, the radio stations or whatnot, they'll chat with you if you're a celebrity or you have like some kind of social media following or whatnot. We want to talk to everybody. We want to be the people that, once they reach their level, their ultimate level, can look back 20 years down the line, be like, yo, remember when we interviewed them when they first was, getting it in and whatnot. So that's what we want to do. But we want to give people, and we, giving people the platform to come and just promote whatever they have going on, talk about social issues, talk about real life issues. We've been talking about, of course, the riots and the racism, and as well as the pandemic and whatnot. So, we talk about a lot of real topics as well, as and in addition to talking to, the other entrepreneurs. And I mean, we try to make it funny. We comedians and stuff, so we try to make it funny a lot of the times. But Papa Don's been a blessing. We're in season 3 right now and just trucking along.
Wow. Wow. So I am, and this is another pivot. So, but um, how did you guys? I know you said you launched it, but how did you know like where to go, or like what direction to take it in, and did you have like a foundational, like it's always going to be about this, or is
Yeah.
it based on who you interview?
You know what? It was kind of like an unwritten thing, because Chris and I, we're kind of like the yin and the yang.
Okay.
I'm the more excitable, lively type and whatnot, and I'm bouncing around on stage and stuff like that. Chris is real cool. He's laid back, and he just punches you so hard with his material. So, we knew that it was going to be a mix of our personalities, because I mean, everywhere we go, people think that we're kin, we're family or whatnot. We think about things the same. So we knew it was going to have just a real chill, cool vibe. So that was never really kind of like a point of emphasis. I think it was more so we were just kind of trying to decide on what kind of people we wanted to have on the show. We didn't want to be one of those platforms where we bought about like controversy or controversial issues or nothing like that. I mean, we talk about things and whatnot, but we wanted to be a space that respected everybody, regardless of their race, creed, orientation, religion, XYZ. It doesn't matter. Skin tone, like, we don't care about none of that. We just care about the content of, the character of the people. So we want to have good people, and we want to have people that are deserving of that time. We want to have the people who are out here working but not making a lot of noise, in a sense that they're not complaining. They're just out here, they're getting it done, and they're moving in, walking in their purpose. So it was more about the kind of people we wanted to interview. And I mean, we've been interviewing nothing but stellar people, the entire time. So we've definitely accomplished that mission.
And I won't take offense that I have not been on your show. So
You know what? I was waiting until this interview to publicly ask you, would you be a guest?
me?
Yes. I was waiting until this interview to publicly ask you. That's almost like proposing to somebody in public. Don't you deny me, Niche.
All right, hold on. Wait, I gotta be prepared. Don't ask me yet. Hold on, hold on.
Hold on. All
Well,
right, hold on. Hold on. I gotta. It's like a proposal. Hold on. I gotta find a microphone somewhere so I can. 'Cause instead of a ring, I'm find a microphone. Will you do me the honor? But no, we would absolutely love to have you on the podcast, to come and just talk about your the platform, your show, and your purpose, and to just let everybody know about Niche. Let's talk about New York. Let's talk about moving. Let's talk about everything. We want to know about Niche, the lady, and Niche, the businesswoman too, because they're two different women. They are. And so I know it's a delicate balancing act, that you got to be strong yet graceful. So let's talk about it, Niche. You please send
Hood.
me
I
your,
got a little hood too. Don't forget to look. I got some hood.
you got some uh
I
you know what? I'm not even gonna touch that. I already knew what time it was. You ain't even it was like an unwritten thing. Like, I can recognize hood and people when I seen them. And when we were sitting at the bar and you was munching on chicken wings, I was like, yup. I said, she got hands. Oh yeah, she'll knock somebody's head clean off the bone. That's what happened.
but I'm a very peaceful person. I promise you, I like my peace. I don't like anybody bothering me.
Right. Well,
As
that's
long
the
as I have
thing.
that, I'm good.
That's the thing. When you're a peaceful person, like, that's the one thing you don't want to upset calm people. And I know so many calm people that, like, when people start pushing their buttons, I back all the way away, because I'm like, bruh, you are not ready for that hurricane that's about to come at you. Like, I'm like, why mess with that peaceful person? Like, you don't know, the most peaceful people, in my opinion, are the most dangerous, because they don't know how to stop. So when you not, when you, I'm gonna get biblical real quick. When you crack that seal, oh my goodness, bro, Armageddon. And I don't feel bad for you because you shouldn't have been messing with them. But I digress.
So yes, I would love to be on your show. And
Thank you,
um,
Niche.
I asked you that question because I try to look at different people's podcasts and try to figure out like how did they, because yours, and I know you and Chris are both comedians, and I feel like that's what you brought to your podcast. So it's like when people create podcasts, are they, do they create like this foundation that's kind of separate from them because they want to be able to attack certain topics,
Yeah.
or what I'm saying, or is it just something? Because for me, I'm not an in front of the camera person. So this is my
Mm,
level of uncomfortableness
mm.
so that I can get better, but I do like helping people. So
Yeah.
a good portion of it is who I am, but I'm also using this to push me out of who I am, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. You have to be uncomfortable to foster growth. And to, I similar to you, Niche, and we're, a lot alike in this way, when we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations because we understand that's what we need to do to get to the next level. There are so many people that are content just being in that safe space. And then when they're not growing, they're wondering why. um just similar to comedy, I wasn't comfortable. I mean, I've been talking in front of people, naturally all my life in church and stuff, but I wasn't comfortable being basically, myself on stage. I wasn't comfortable cracking jokes and making people laugh, and it's just something that you got into. So it's something that you have to do as necessary if you want to grow as a person. And with you taking this step, I commend you because not a lot of people would have been that brave.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
very welcome. You're very welcome.
So I know that you said that it was at the suggestion of your friends, and then, just coworkers kind of bringing it full circle for you. But do you think that you would still have stepped into comedy if they didn't see it in you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think that it was something that I don't think it was something that I necessarily had confidence in myself about. And I mean, confidence is something ironically that I struggle with. I'm not the most confident being. But on stage, what kind of replaces that is adrenaline. Adrenaline, my body just kind of reacts, and I get this feeling in the pit of my stomach where I'm scared. I am terrified. But it's kind of like, and I'm a reference New York. It's kind of like Big said, what you gonna do, fight or run? I ain't finna run. I ain't
I
finna
know.
run. Mama ain't raised no pawn. I ain't finna run. And I take that and I use it, to pretty much bring out and just kind of be, myself on stage and stuff. A little secret that I have, I try to get my first laugh within the first 10 to 15 seconds. One, because that's when the audience determines whether they like you or not, or two, because it just makes my set go way better if I get it off the bat. uh, if I get off the bat, if I hadn't had people that were pretty much speaking life into me, and I realized how important speaking life is into people. If I didn't have people speaking life and seeing something that I saw, I really feel like, and I understand, everybody's belief system is different, but I feel like that was God just kind of passing me the message, like, hey, listen, like. You can do this. You can do this. Sometimes you need that outside influence. Sometimes you need those people to just kind of kick in your butt and be like, look, man, if I see this in you, how do you not see it in yourself? And people don't realize that sometimes you don't see things in yourself. So long story short, without my friends and coworkers, telling me and believing in me, I would not be doing comedy today.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you're doing it because you have made me laugh.
Well, I like to see, and if I can make you laugh, Niche, I can do anything.
But I absolutely want to thank you again for sitting down and joining me, and doing this interview. And we'll definitely talk off camera,
Of course.
um, about setting up me coming. This will be my first time being interviewed with someone else. So I'm gonna remember that forever.
Wait, so I might just have to wear a suit to that interview, because we be going all comfortable and stuff and whatnot, V-necks and sweatpants and stuff, but I might have to step in with a suit and some loafers when Niche come through the building. Okay, because it's gonna be a very great episode. Okay.
Just don't have no ascot and tags and all that.
I don't got enough chest hair for that. I can't wear the ascot with the shirt bust down because I don't got enough chest hair for that. This 70s would not have been my era niche. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to coming to your podcast
Thank you so
and
much.
bringing my little bit of jokes. But I'm kind of nervous because it'll be two comedians. Because I think I can hang with you a little bit in a conversation, not on stage, but in a conversation. But it's gonna be two of y'all.
You can hang
So
on stage too. You can hang on stage. We
yeah, oh,
honestly like just prepare for a whole lot of jokes. Prepare for me to like just. Chris usually says something that just has me dying off camera. Like I got to get up and walk off because my laugh is so obnoxious, and he'll slide a slick comment in there, and man, I just crack up. So it's just that's what we do. I made a statement earlier as far as my audience members being family and stuff. And it's the same thing with the podcast. I tell people you come through your family, and it's to the point we have an open door policy. If we're recording and we're there and you're just like around the area, just come through. Like just come through. We would love a surprise guest, but we're gonna set this one up for you, of course, but that's the mantra. That's what we tell people. Like if you're in the area, just come through. So we'll get your veils, ma'am, because I know that you are a busy, busy woman. And we'll get your veils and we'll get you in and we're gonna have fun.
all right. Well, thank you so much, and definitely check us out every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys later.